I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting on November 11, 2013. Mr. Spagna, would you please call the roll?
Allen. Dixon.
Here.
Gibbons.
Here.
Hannon.
Present.
Harrison.
Present.
McLean.
Here.
Mowry.
Here.
O'Brien.
Present.
Pape. 7 present.
7 members present. This time we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, at this time I'd like to turn to chair announcements. We had an executive session of council was conducted tonight before we came out. I apologize for running a few minutes late. November 11, 2013 for real estate issues. At this time I'd like to turn to the reports of officials and our librarian's report.
Good evening. My name is Christine, and I'm the director of Your Public Library, where we provide services to inform, inspire, and enrich the community. I'd like to start off my report and wish our library's administrative assistant, Tina Burke, a speedy recovery. She's at home recovering from outpatient surgery, so I hope that she's back on Monday because I really need her. Some programs to highlight. We have a job and career searching program for adults on Tuesday, November 19th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. Representatives from Mencken Staffing will be on site to help. They have immediate openings available for both part-time and permanent positions in Allegheny and Washington County. We ask that you make an appointment, and you need to bring 2 forms of government-issued ID, a current resume, and references. So if you're looking for a job, this might be something to help. We have a Hunger Games program for teens, which will be held on Friday, November 22nd at 6 p.m. So if you have a teen that's interested, if they've watched the Catching Fire trailer and are anxious to see the sequel on the big screen, earlier that evening at 6 o'clock, you can come to the library for games, contests, refreshments to get yourself all hyped up. That is for students in grades 5 and up. Again, Friday, November 22nd at 6 o'clock. We're having a gift wrapping program for adults, which is very popular. This is our own Miss Jackie. She will demonstrate unique and creative ways to wrap your gifts for the upcoming holiday season. I've seen some of what she's going to do, and it's stuff that you have around the house, so it won't even cost you anything. That will be on Monday, November 25th at 7 p.m., and we have our gingerbread house workshop coming up. This is an annual event for the library on Saturday, December 7th from noon to 4 p.m. You can drop in anytime. We ask that you please bring a bag of candy or a can of icing to share. This is a family program, so it's for a parent with a child or children. I wanted to talk just a minute about library-related apps. We have just placed all of the library-related apps on one page on our website. So on there is GoCat, which is the mobile catalog, so if you want to search and see if we have a book or want to place a request. The EBSCO and Gale apps, those are research databases, so there's journals and periodicals in there. The Mango Language Learning database, you can download the app and you can learn a language. Spanish and Italian are the most popular. You can go back and check your progress, review lessons, or move on to another lesson. One Click is for audiobooks, downloadable audiobooks. The Overdrive app is for ebooks, and Zinnios for digital magazines. So you can find them, download them to your iPhone or Android phone, and use them. And lastly, fundraising. I just wanted to say thank you to all the vendors and the shoppers who supported the library's annual Fall Craft and Vendor Fair on October 26th. We had a very successful event this year. The library is also selling entertainment books for $25 each, and we now have library-themed T-shirts available for $15 each. There's 3 designs. One's Atticus Finch, who I think is a great role model for people. The pen is mightier than the sword, done in symbols, and also in Libris Libertas, and books there is freedom. You can purchase them in the library, or if you want to purchase them online through our website, you can do that using PayPal. We have an invoice on there. And it's also time for our semi-annual lottery raffle. The tickets are $5 a piece. They're based on the Pennsylvania daily 3-digit number drawn at 7 o'clock. So you get one number. It's good for the whole month of January. It makes a good stocking stuffer. And also the library is a collection site for new toys for needy families for Compassion Connections. So in the spirit of giving, if you could bring in a new toy, they will go to needy families in the area. And a reminder that the library will close at 5 o'clock on Wednesday, November 27th in preparation for the Thanksgiving holiday, and we will be closed on Thanksgiving. If you would like information on these or many of the other programs and services offered by the library, you can visit the library's website at bethelparklibrary.org.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Thank you very much. We'll turn to the police chief's report. Chief Mackey.
Thank you, Mr. Mallory. Good evening, everyone. I have a few announcements this evening. First, our next two Crime Watch meetings. The first one, the November meeting, is November 19th at 6:30. Of course, it'll be held at the Community Center. And our December meeting will be Tuesday, December 17th. And at that meeting, we're going to have Postal Inspector David Geely, and he's going to do a presentation on mail fraud and identity theft. And I know Officer Regatti's planning some light refreshments following that meeting. So we encourage everyone to get involved in Crime Watch, join the over 1,000 Bethel Park residents who have signed up for Crime Watch. Speaking of Crime Watch, on October 19th, we held our first annual Crime Watch recognition dinner. And at that dinner, we had all the police officers who previously served in the Crime Watch office attend. And we also had members of John Scherbondi's family. Two of his sons attended. Officer Scherbondy, unfortunately, is no longer with us, but he is the founder of Crime Watch in Bethel Park. So it was really nice to have him represented by his two sons. We had over 130 people in attendance at that first meeting, or at least our first recognition dinner, so that was very nice. As always, we accept people into Crime Watch, so if you are at all interested, please contact Officer Regatti here at the police department, and you can do so. His number is 412-831-6800, extension 104, or you could email him. It's trigatti, T-R-I-G-A-T-T-I, at bethelparkpolice.net. We are still accepting applications for the 2014 Citizens Police Academy. We will cut it off at 50, and we have had that many participants the last couple years. So if you're interested in Crime Watch, we ask you to please sign up. Again, it's a 12-week program. It'll run for 12 consecutive Wednesday evenings. And once again, you would contact Officer Regatti for an application. On October 6th, we participated in the National Drug Enforcement Administration Drug Take-Back Program. We had two locations, the Bethel Park Community Center and the Highmark Direct Building up on Highland Avenue, and we took in over 125 pounds of unused, unwanted, expired medications. So you could see it's a really successful program. I know a lot of people miss it and they say, boy, I wish I knew about it. We hold these events twice a year. So if you have those medications, just hang on to them a little bit longer. We typically have the program in April and October. So we ask you, please don't throw the medications away. Don't flush them down the toilet or pour them down the drain. Just hang on to them a little bit longer, and we will accept them at the two take-back programs. Officer Gatti also asked me to announce that we've completed the child identification program for this year. We were able to prepare over 1,450 child identification cards for students in kindergarten, 2nd, 4th, and 6th grade. That's an awful lot of kids that received their child IDs this year, and would really like to thank South Park Shops for sponsoring the program for us, and also thank the PTO volunteers who helped out. And finally, the only other thing I have to say is on behalf of the men and women of the Bethel Park Police Department would like to wish our veterans a happy Veterans Day. We sincerely appreciate your sacrifice and your service to our great country. And that is my report, Mr. Mowry.
Thank you very much, Chief. Any questions? Hearing none, can we turn to the mayor's report? Excuse me, the fire chief's report. Sorry. Skipped right over you, Mr. Brown.
Thanks, Mr. Mowry. Good evening, everyone. My name's Bob Brown. I'm the Deputy Fire Chief at the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company. Here to give you the report for the month of October, but before I get to that, just a couple items. Changed our clocks back, I believe it was last weekend, so a reminder to the residents, you want to remember to change your batteries in your smoke detectors and CO alarms also. Very important. They could someday save a life. Also, I believe this week our second mailing for our fundraising will be going out. Also included in that mailing is going to be an insert from Buggy Bath and Car Wash. They, make sure I get this correct, for every, coming up on the winter months, I'm sure everybody's going to need to get their cars washed. If you go to Buggy Bath and Car Wash down on Route 88 and get the classic bath with free Rain-X and use a coupon code 1234, nice and easy, $2 will be donated to the fire company. So we would appreciate, if you need your car washed, visit Buggy Bath and they'll donate $2 to us and you'll get a good car wash. I believe the last item, I want to let the residents know, especially up in the Park Avenue area behind our Brightwood Station, for the next, what we have been for the last several Mondays, and for the Mondays in a little bit into the future, we've been training there. We have some homes there we're able to use for training. We're also using, it's not live smoke, we call it pepper fog. It's the same things that are used on a movie set, that type of thing to create smoke. Nothing harmful, it's not really smoke, it's more of a fog. Nothing harmful to any of the residents. It's the closest we can get to simulate live fire training that we're allowed to by the laws of NFPA. So if you happen to be driving by, if you see trucks back there, if you see firefighters back there, that's what it is. It's our training. It's very beneficial to the fire department. The opportunities like this don't come along too often for us, so we're going to make good use of it. And I know the dispatch center, unfortunately, gets calls because I know the smoke machine we have is a very good one, and it works well. So sometimes you may see smoke moving its way down onto South Park Road or up past the community center. But if it's a Monday night, rest assured it should be only training. Should be. For the month of October, 37 total fire calls, increased a little bit over September. If you remember, September, I think we had a total of 19 calls, probably one of the lowest months since I've been in the fire service here. But 7 structure fires, or classified as structure fires, 8 hazardous condition calls, 17 false alarms, and 5 CO calls. And I believe, Mr. Mowry, that's going to conclude my report, unless there's any questions.
No, maybe I'll just, at this time, I'll go into a little segue. I think, as everybody knows, we had the referendum question this past May on the funding for the new fire department. Council has been working with, the subcommittee has been working with a subcommittee, the fire department, developing, really refining the things that we talked about in the spring of what items are going to be included in the agreement. Council was given a list of items probably a month or so ago. We received in the mail this past Thursday a preliminary draft, which we're going to be looking at and the fire department's looking at. If all goes well, we should hopefully be adopting that at our December council meeting. So things are moving forward. The start of probably the asbestos abatement will start sometime toward the end of this year, and we're hoping to get everything bid out early 2014. The architect has worked on a revised schedule, but that'll be upcoming, so we'll keep everybody posted. Any other discussion from council? Thank you very much. At this time, we turn to the mayor's report. Thank you.
Evening, Mr. Bowery and council. And all you folks, good evening. And all you folks out home. All right, let's get on this. This last night actually, many of you may already know this. The foundation, Bethel Park Community Foundation, biggest fundraiser that they have, it's probably one of the only ones they have, is a thing they call Bethel Bounty. And what it is over at the community center, they have this thing set up every November. You buy a ticket, you go in, and you find all these vendors that are showing you what they have. Their restaurants is what they are, and all these things that you can eat, all you can eat, and go back and back and go back. And it's a good night if you're hungry. It's a good night for the foundation because they do get their money raised. So if you hear about the Bethel Bounty and the foundation, it's in November, and think about doing it next year. You'll enjoy it. Today was a good day. Well, for Veterans Day, I had to go a couple places to speak a little bit. I met with the nurses down in South Park. There's a memorial down there to veteran nurses, and it's been there for a number of years. And so the nurses group, their club, honor it every year, and a number of people come down and help them do that. That was nice. I also went over to the Assembly of God Church because they also do one of the nicest Veteran Days that I've ever seen, and it involves all the children from Hillcrest Christian School, and they have skits and they have singing and they have a band and they just do all these wonderful things, and in honoring, of course, the veterans. And they always have a big color guard that comes in, and the kids are impressed with that. But it dawned on me while I was sitting there this morning, we should really do more of this in our schools. And I'm thinking we don't do anything, but that's not true. Because Independence Middle School, as a matter of fact, was honoring veterans who wanted to stop by today in the cafeteria and have a coffee and a cookie and chat, do whatever. But what impressed me with the Hillcrest children was they really take this seriously, and they had me in tears at one part, to tell you the truth. It was very, very touching. So much for that. Happy Veterans Day. What we also do every month, for those of you who may not know, is we recognize all our seniors who are 90 years old or older. This is the birthday list for this month of November. These folks were born at least 90 years ago. Tilly Frankovich, John Walker, and Maurice Martin are 91 this month. We wish them a happy birthday. Gertrude Lambert, a longtime resident of Bethel Park, is 93. Happy birthday to Gertrude. And Elsie Jeskowitz and Gladys Wilkes and Cecilia Spernak are all 95 this month. We wish them a happy birthday. And finally, our last person is Ed Fassel, a gentleman that is 96 years old. We wish him a happy birthday, and he could be on this council or do a lot of things. He's in great shape. So we wish them all a very, very happy birthday. And I think that's all we have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to turn to the approval of the minutes, and Mr. Hannon.
The first one is the regular meeting of October 14th, 2013. I move that we approve the record of council meeting minutes of October 14th, 2013.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the regular council meeting minutes of October 14th, 2013. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagna, would you please call the roll?
Dixon?
Yes.
Givens?
Yes.
Hannon?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
Mowry?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. At this time, I'd like to turn to the approval of the minutes of the public hearing of October 28th, 2013, the municipal budget. Mr. Hannon.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes of the public hearing of October 28th, 2013, the 2014 municipal budget.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the meeting minutes of the public hearing of October 28th, 2013, the 2014 municipal budget. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagna, would you please call the roll?
Givens?
Yes.
Hannon?
Yes.
Harrison?
Yes.
McLean?
Yes.
Mowry?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Dixon?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. At this time, I'd like to turn to the approval of the bills and payrolls, and Mr. Hannon.
I move that we approve the bills and payrolls for the municipality per bill list number 111113 in the amount of $1,051,072.06.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the bills and payrolls for the municipality per bill list number 111113 in the amount of $1,051,072.06. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spangler, would you please call the roll?
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Maury,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0. At this time, I'd like to turn to the resident comment section for non-agenda items. We have several people signed up to speak on items under planning and zoning, and we'll do that right before we read the resolution or the motions that are on the agenda. So, are there any residents like to speak for non-agenda items? Hearing none, can we turn to the agenda and general policy and finance? And Mr. Hannon.
First item is an ordinance for the tax rate for fiscal year 2014. I move that we approve the ordinance setting the 2014 fiscal year tax rate in the amount of 1 98/100 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation for general municipal purposes, and an additional 34/100 mils on each dollar of assessed valuation for the provision of funding to the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company as provided for by the Home Rule Charter referendum of May 2013.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the ordinance setting the 2014 fiscal year tax rate in the amount of 1 98/100 mils on each $1 of assessed valuation for general municipal purposes, and an additional 34/100 of a mil on each dollar of assessed valuation for the provision of funding for the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company as provided for by the Home Rule Charter referendum of May 2013. Any discussion of this item?
Mr. Maury.
Mr. Harrison.
I'll be voting no on both the tax and the budget motions under this agenda. And that's because of what I consider the illegal actions to get the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company question on the May ballot. I moved to Bethel Park on Prescott Drive in May 1960 and still live there. I learned almost immediately of the volunteer fire company because in those days the volunteers went door to door collecting contributions. I have been a supporter of the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company from day one. I still am and will continue to be a supporter of the company. I don't blame the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company for the illegal actions, what I consider to be illegal actions. I blame the governing body sitting up here and their hired professionals that you see in here. Mr. McTiernan, our solicitor, rendered what I call a Philadelphia lawyer type opinion that trashed the Home Rule Charter. I consider the Home Rule Charter the Constitution of Bethel Park. The Home Rule Charter has stood the test of time since January 1978. Mr. McTiernan, after rendering the opinion, hastened to deliver the ordinance to the Election Bureau a couple days after the meeting when it was passed. That was about a month before the ordinance became effective in accordance with the Home Rule Charter. So he took an ordinance which was not effective in accordance with the Home Rule Charter to the Election Bureau. I've been asked why I would consider the May ballot question illegal, considering the fact that Mr. McTiernan and the Election Bureau lawyer allowed the question to go on the ballot. My answer is very simple. Lawyers issue opinions. If they determine legality, then we wouldn't have a need for judges, would we? I conclude this by noting that I shouldn't be so naive at my age. I knew when the ordinance was passed by council to put the question on the ballot that in accordance with the Home Rule Charter, the question was not eligible to go on the ballot until the November election, the one we had this past week. Never in my wildest dreams did I suspect that the fix was in and Mr. McTiernan would opine that the May ballot question was okay, contrary to the Home Rule Charter. I say
the fix was in, because I said the fix was in. What I mean by that is that it's interesting to me that the council took an action to put the question on the ballot in May, which was inconsistent with the Home Rule Charter, and Mr. McTiernan sat there and immediately rendered an opinion that was okay. I believe, since I was the only council member up here that challenged that opinion, I have to believe, I can't prove it, I allege that some of my fellow council members, maybe all of them, knew about the intent to violate the Home Rule Charter. I will continue to believe that that's a downer for Bethel Park. Thank you.
Mr. Mowry.
2 quick points. We'll probably go through this for the next 4 years, but just to clarify for the record, a lot of accusations were made this evening, none of which were true. We followed the solicitor from day one in developing the question, the timetable, having on the ballot. Out of 34,000 people, there's only one that believes it's illegal, so we won't even go there. But going back to the motion at hand, the millage rate we're setting tonight is the same, 1.98 mils as it was last year. The addition is the 0.34 mils, which will be a dedicated tax for the funding of the fire department's operations. We've talked, there's a separate section in the budget for the fire department. All the money will be accounted for by the municipality. Last month, we actually did a bond issue of $8.2 million that'll be dedicated to the development of the new building. As I said earlier, working through the agreement with the fire department. Hopefully, if all goes well, we pass the agreement in December. The properties will transfer over to the municipality effective the first of the year. But we're still working through that process. So our millage rate from the municipality has stayed the same. The only change is the referendum question that was approved by 2/3 vote of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Murray.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. O'Brien.
it's unfortunate that Mr. Harrison uses those types of, language related to our solicitor. I'd just like to say that I've served with Bob on this council for, I think, 20 years now. I've never met a more honorable man. He has always been forthright and led us in the right direction, and he's just plain and simple a very honorable man. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Any other discussion from council? Mr. Spagman, please call the roll.
Harrison,
No.
McLean,
Yes.
Mowry,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
6-1.
Motion passes 6-1. At this time, I'd like to turn to the approval of the ordinance for the 2014 municipal budget. And Mr. Hannon.
I move that we approve the ordinance enacting the year 2014 budget for the municipality of Bethel Park.
Second.
There's a motion and a second that we approve the ordinance enacting the year 2014 budget for the municipality of Bethel Park. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
McLean,
Yes.
Mowry,
Yes.
O'Brien,
Yes.
Dixon,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Hannon,
Yes.
Harrison.
No.
Motion passes 6-1. Mr. Hannon.
We have no further agenda items on our general policy and finance, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Hannon. Any additional items? Hearing none, we will turn to planning and zoning, and we have 2 items and a number of people signed up to speak. The first item is the Shaycog joint bid for solid waste collection and disposal services, waste management contract for 2014 through 2018. We have Lisa McNay. If you'd like to come up state your name and address for the record. We do have a 3-minute limit. At the end of 2 minutes, the manager will signify and would ask you to conclude your comments.
Okay. Good evening, council and Bethel Park staff, and also thank you for the veterans who are here this evening. My name is Lisa McKnight. I'm the area public sector director for waste management, and also here with me is also Rich Mogan. He's our senior district manager for the Washington Hauling Company. This evening's agenda includes the motion to award the solid waste and collection disposal contract. Waste Management tonight is requesting for Bethel Park Council to postpone this award just for a very short period of time. Of the communities in the Shaycog that are able to convert from traditional bin recycling to automated cart recycling have either awarded their contracts, like Scott and Peters, and others are highly likely in the next several weeks to do so. Communities that are not able to implement automated recycling have increased recycling capabilities, such as Dormont just this past week, going from an every other week bin recycling program to a weekly recycling program. Waste Management has proudly serviced Bethel Park for the last 15 years, and we are confident that your community could convert to a recycling automated cart program. Also, in these 15 years, we've implemented compressed natural gas trucks, and we've also had waste watch programs implemented for the safety of your community. 2 weeks ago, you've heard presentations from both Waste Management and Republic, and at this time, you were incorrectly advised that automated recycling cannot be implemented in Bethel Park. This statement is seriously misleading. Although Bethel Park did not initially express interest in automation, the bid specifications clearly allow any of the participating municipalities to choose any of the primary, secondary, or optional services. This is located in Section 4, Instructions to Bidder, on the top of page 16. The difference between your traditional biweekly recycling compared to automated cart recycling is extremely minor. We're talking it's less than $7,500 a month for the life of the contract. And please note, for the first 15 months, Waste Management has not increased your rates. If you continued with Waste Management, your rates would stay the same. It would be very unfortunate at this time for you to move forward with an award this evening with so many Shaycog communities and North Hillcog communities implementing cart recycling programs. The opportunity for Bethel Park to become a greener, cleaner, and more sustainable community will not occur for another 5 years. Again, tonight, I just encourage you to simply postpone this award this evening and making sure that you are making the best decision and the most informed decision for the residents of Bethel Park. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much. Brandon Colella, regarding the waste management, the waste collection, solid waste collection.
Mr. Mallory, I'd like to ask, please.
Thank you very much. The next resident or person, John McGowan from Republic.
I'll pass.
Okay. Okay, the second item on here is the Spencer Family YMCA. We have a number of people that have signed up to speak. I'll apologize in advance if I incorrectly state your name. Is it Robert Exides of the YMCA Conditional Use? If you could come to the microphone and state your name and address. We have a 3-minute limit.
Oh, right.
I'm sorry.
I'm Robert Exides. I'm an attorney representing Health Tracks, and you have pronounced my name exactly correctly.
Thank you.
The YMCA, I'm speaking against voting on the YMCA proposal at all, but if council feels that they must vote, voting no. The proposal is just completely inappropriate for the conditional use district at issue. The CD district, which was enacted at the time Blade Runners came in, says that the use must be limited to recreation, quote, that would serve the general public and would not be unusual to find in a public park or on public land. And I submit that this just is not the kind of thing that would be on public land. I would challenge council to even name one healthcare or wellness fitness facility of anything like this size, over 40,000 square feet, in the entire state of Pennsylvania on public land or in a public park, other than university facilities for students, which are an entirely different thing. Now, I realize that because of that, supposedly, and I'm sure that your planners have informed you, that there were variances to get around this problem. I'm telling you that those variances are clearly insufficient, and just to make sure that you're not buying litigation, which I think you are if you vote in favor of this, council should insist that the proper variances be obtained and the proper advertising being done. The only variances that authorize this huge use, this huge exception, the recreational use, are variances for aerobics, weightlifting, and education. And the advertising for these variances was even more limited and wouldn't give the average person the slightest idea of what was intended. They were for educational facilities and
1 minute.
And a swimming pool. I'm sorry, sign variance, front yard, and an outdoor swimming pool. At the hearing 2 weeks ago, I attempted to cross-examine the YMCA on their proposal, and I was cut off. I was not allowed complete cross-examination, which I think may be a legal defect in itself. I would urge council, before voting on this, to get the proper variances so that they're not buying litigation and conduct a proper hearing. And my final comment is that I don't have time to go into this, but the parking and traffic studies are inadequate in that they use as a base, as a comparable use, the Swickley YMCA. Well, Swickley is an entirely different community with 1/10 the population of Bethel Park, and people walk and people use their bicycles there. So I don't see how the parking and traffic tendencies in Swickley are in any way relevant to Bethel Park.
Thank you very much. Is there Brian Altmeyer from Farragut, McCarty, and Gray? If you state your name and address for the record, you have a 3-minute limit. To 2 minutes, we'll signify and ask you to conclude your comments.
Okay, thank you. Brian Altmeyer, Farragut, McCarty, Gray, representing the applicant this evening. I just wanted to state for council's benefit, we're here to answer any questions that council may have during this meeting, and didn't want to give up that opportunity to further discuss the applications. We believe that the testimony that was given at the public hearing was adequate to provide the necessary information for council to approve this application on its merits. Thank you.
Thank you very much. John Wilson.
Ann Wilson.
Oh, so I'm sorry, Ann Wilson.
My reading.
It's my reading.
Sorry. Good evening. My name is Ann Wilson, and I'm the co-owner of the Curves at 2940 South Park Road, which is just approximately a quarter of a mile down the road from the proposed site. And although it's that close to us, I was totally unaware that any of this was happening until just a couple days ago. So just to tell you a bit about us, Curves, just like all other fitness providers in our facility, is comprised of hardworking, loyal individuals that are happy to support our local economy. We have been a tax-paying small business in Bethel Park for more than 15 years. And I personally have been a tax-paying resident for over 20 years. Like the YMCA, we also provide fitness and wellness programs with our membership base exceeding 500 members. We provide jobs to local citizens. We work very hard to build and maintain our positive business image in our community, as well as our standing in the top 20 most successful Curves nationwide. Curves is proud to provide us support to a number of nonprofit organizations each and every year. For example, we're about to kick off our annual toy drive, which benefits underprivileged children in our communities. We also conduct food drives to support local families in need in Bethel Park and beyond. And these are just two of the many organizations that we've supported and continue to support through various fundraisers. We're about to make a substantial investment in our business that will help to build membership dramatically to ensure that we'll maintain this presence in our community for many more years to come. This will undoubtedly increase tax revenue to the municipality of Bethel Park, provided that our area's small businesses are not undercut by a virtually identical business model that provides the same exact services yet does not pay taxes to help support our community. Thank you for your time, and please continue to support our local small businesses by voting no on the conditional land use proposed by the YMCA. And in fairness, please wait until there have been more hearings on this issue to be sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jill Bianco.
Good evening. My name is Jill Bianco, and I live at 1119 Tidewood Drive in Bethel Park. Between the new $3 million community center, full-service recreation and leisure department, and the high school pool, taxpayers are already funding everything the YMCA would be doing. With that being said, as a taxpayer, I ask again, what do the YMCA supporters think that they are adding that is not already being funded by us taxpayers? Often towns want the YMCA to become their community center and provide services that are not available to support families. But rarely does an upscale community look to privately fund a Y when they already have full-service community center and a highly functioning recreation program. For example, the Bethel Park Community Center continues to be the center of activity in the community for all residents of all ages. The center amenities include a multi-purpose room that includes a stage and catering kitchen, game room, youth and adult lounges, classrooms, exercise studios, an indoor walking track and gymnasium. Not to also mention exterior amenities including a lighted football, soccer, lacrosse field, walking track, youth baseball field, a playground, and concession stands. In addition, as I attended the last meeting, there seemed to be a huge need for adults and children's swim lessons within the community. But when I look to see what Bethel Park Recreation Department provides, as you can see that I have here, I would question the need for taxpayers to subsidize the Y for duplicate services. With that being said, I ask that you vote no on the conditional land use. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Terry Hunt.
Good evening. Terry Hunt at 5388 Main Street, Apartment 10. I am a Bethel Park resident and also a taxpayer. The residents and businesses of Bethel Park and those within the surrounding communities are very generous to the needs of the charities. Not only have I seen the outpouring of kindness and the monetary donations given to these charities, but I have personally received their help during my own time of need. Charitable donations are finite, so the public interest suffers when a YMCA, which operates like a business, competes with true charity for donations. In fact, it's a double hit because the public loses both tax revenue and vital charitable services. The more the Y targets adult fitness customers, the less it serves those who truly need help. As the YMCA expands into affluent areas rather than underserved communities, both tax revenues and the efforts devoted to truly charitable purposes diminish. This is why I'm asking you to vote no on the conditional land use. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Naomi Moffett.
Hi, my name's Naomi Moffett. I live at 2766 West Monroe Street in Bethel Park, and I'm talking to you tonight as a resident and as a single mother of two children who feel very blessed to have all of the programs that we have in the community that is currently funded by businesses that the YMCA would be looking to compete with. I also come to you as an employee of one of those businesses. So I'm asking you to vote no on the conditional land use for a few reasons. Number one, they have a facility that's going to come in and compete with all of our types of facilities that fund all of the programs that my kids currently use and my neighbors. I come from a background of an underserved area where a YMCA would be very much in use in the city of Pittsburgh and the lower north side. So coming to Bethel Park, I notice a huge difference in the area that I live, the services that are available to my family and to families like mine. And I've also noticed the level of services. So I believe out here in Bethel Park, there is a huge difference between what was available to me and having been a member of the Y growing up, and also what's available to me now. I became a member of Health Tracks and was astonished by the type of services, and then also by the community realizing what was all at my fingertips just for being a resident and for paying taxes. And I wouldn't have it any other way, and I would hate to see anything undermine my availability to that and the availabilities of the families around here, and also the many Bethel Park residents that these companies employ. So for me, it would kind of be a double-edged sword for potential job loss and also having to pay more taxes, being that I'm newly a single mother, and any tax increase is going to be a very hurt to my family. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kevin from Higbee Drive.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Sanker. I'm the Vice President of Health Tracks Fitness and Wellness located at 1000 Higbee Drive. and a local resident at 5967 Dublin Road. Before I make a few comments, I would like to present the council with over 300 plus signatures that were captured in less than 4 days opposing the new YMCA, if I may.
Yeah, if you can give them to Kathy.
I am here tonight to ask you to oppose, to vote no or delay the conditional land use that has been presented to the council by the YMCA for the facility located on 305 Church Road, currently known as Blade Runners. As a taxpayer, proud of our new multi-million-dollar high school investment in state-of-the-art facilities, indoor swimming pool, fields built to meet the needs of our residents, I do question the duplicating these services. I respectfully ask the council, as you seriously consider being responsible stewards of public trust before moving forward on this application to allow any conditional land use, has the YMCA established themselves as filling a need for any of their programs in our town? Listening to a few comments from the public, it is evident that most of the YMCA's proposed services is a carbon copy of existing programs in the community offered by our own municipality recreation department and by private tax-paying sector of the community. It is no doubt that the distinction between tax-exempt, tax-paying companies are increasingly unclear, especially when they are moving out to the newest communities, or they're moving out of the neediest communities and relocating to suburban and other middle to upper income areas. I would have loved to have been in that meeting when the YMCA identified Bethel Park as the best community to assist in serving the needy and underprivileged families in the greater Pittsburgh area. Really? It is no secret that many Ys now operate their fitness centers more like a business than a charity. The YMCA's exemption from property taxes creates an uneven playing field for tax-paying facilities. Bottom line, selling adult fitness is a business, and being tax exempt is a privilege, not a right. Please make the right decision in the spirit of the people that you serve. Vote no or delay this conditional land use. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Mary from Higby Drive. Thank you.
Mary Politowski, 1000 Higby Drive. Good evening, everyone, and happy Veterans Day. I just have some major concerns as to the location of the proposed YMCA. My first concern is with the flow or the lack of flow of the traffic through this tiny driveway area. The driveway is to accommodate school traffic, buses, students, parents, etc. And the YMCA claims that 1,400 people per day will visit this facility, and most of them will be taking classes. Those classes, in most cases, will be scheduled during the morning hours during school operation. And I understand the traffic study was conducted and submitted. My question regarding this study is that Bethel Park was compared to Sewickley, where the population is 10 times more than here. Sewickley has 3,800 residents compared to 32,000 residents in the Bethel Park area. We currently have a flow of traffic through the school as it is. Imagine adding 1,400 people per day coming across Broad Street through the school and the chaos it's going to cause out front on Bethel Church Road. I see a traffic light having to be installed at the main entrance, which is going to have to be paid by the taxpayers, the YMCA not being one of them. My other concern is with the swimming pool pollutants, as well as the noise factor this building will be bringing. The pool will be required by the health department to have its own air handling system to evacuate the chloramines produced by the chlorine. These chloramines will be present 24 hours a day and will require air handlers to run constantly, exhausting the chlorine fumes into the atmosphere. I also have concerns on how the chlorine and acid will be used and stored, and if there is, of course, any evacuation process that is in place. It appears that this air handler, along with all the other air conditioning units, will be mounted on the rooftop, which will definitely add to the noise factor that will be emitted from the building. And I highly recommend that the YMCA seek out another location in the South Hills and remove these burdens from the Bethel Park residents and the taxpayers.
I'm asking also to postpone the vote or to vote no, and I thank you all for your time this evening.
Thank you very much. That's all the residents we have signed up to speak. If you can turn to the agenda, item Mr. Dixon, Planning and Zoning.
The first item on the agenda is the Shaycog joint bid for solid waste collection and disposal services waste management contract 2014 through 2018. I move that we award the solid waste collection and disposal contract through the Shaycog joint bid for solid waste collection and disposal services for the years 2014 through 2018 to Green Ridge Waste Services, LLC, doing business as Allied Waste Services of Scottsdale, Republic Services, for traditional manual curbside garbage collection, biweekly recycling, and leaf collection for a price calculated at a per unit rate, and to authorize council president to execute the required contract document.
Second. There is a motion, a second, that we award the solid waste contract and disposal contract, solid waste collection and disposal contract through the Shaycog joint bid for solid waste collection and disposal services for the years 2014 to 2018 to Green Ridge Waste Services, LLC, doing business at Allied Waste Services of Scottsdale, Republic Services for traditional manual curbside garbage collection, biweekly recycling, and leaf collection for a price calculated at a per unit rate, and to authorize council president to execute the required contract document. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Henry? I'll briefly talk about it. We've had waste management for a number of years now, and we initially bid it out probably 15 or 20 years ago. We've had some extensions, and we've had some bids. We decided to go with Shaycog, the South Hills Area Council of Governments, and do a joint bid. And we made some decisions up front, one of which was we didn't really want to look at this point in time an automated collection system for the garbage or for the recyclables, and for a number of reasons. The topography, the cost, it wasn't something that we, council, as all of us, were willing to look at this time. We went out for a bid. While Waste Management's done a great job for us over the years, we had a new lower bid, and that's Republic. I think based on talking to the solicitor, we've received a wet letter from Waste Management. We're following his advice, and we're following the Shaycog bid document, and there's going to be, well, we're voting on right now a potential major change in the way we collect garbage. We have preliminary meetings with Republic Services. They're here tonight, and I'm sure if they came to the microphone, they would say there's not going to be any issues. And we're going to continue with the garbage collection effective January 1st if this passes, and there's going to be virtually no changes. We get the fact that when you make a change like this, there are going to be a few hiccups. The intention right now, your collection day at this point will not change. Everything will be the same. The time may change a little bit. If it was 10 in the morning, it may be 1 in the afternoon. It's going to take a little bit of a time for us, if we adopt this tonight, to make the adjustment. And what it really comes down to is we had a great supplier, and we have an opportunity to bring a new supplier on. And really it comes down to the dollars and cents. Over the life of this contract, we'll be saving about almost $330,000. The collection for the residents, the way we do it today, there'll be virtually no change. We'll be talking more about it if this is passed tonight at our December meeting on what plans we have in place in order to make the change. And I guess to summarize, we'll be paying slightly less in 2014 for garbage collection than we paid in 2013. So as much as it's tough to do and make a change, I'm going to be voting yes on this, and really from a financial services reason, and in my belief that Republic Services, BFI, will do a good job in the collection of our garbage. So thank you.
Any other discussion with council?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Dixon.
I just want to reiterate what Mr. Mowry has said. This is no reflection on Waste Management. They've done a great job for us. We have no issues with them whatsoever. They're a great company. This is strictly a cost-saving tactic for the taxpayers. Over the last 5 years, we've had some pretty brutal deliberations over budget issues. This community, like any other community, has really struggled to balance our budget. We've cut the budget to the bone, and this is just simply a cost-saving maneuver for the taxpayers. Thank you.
Any other discussion from council?
Mr. Chairman, just one additional comment. I agree with the prior comments about the importance of saving the money is the critical issue for us. We've also looked into, and members of the staff have spoken with other communities that have been using Republic and have gotten favorable reports. So while a change will put us in a situation of going from what we're currently doing to a new provider, we've at least got the benefit of being told that the provider we're going to with this savings is somebody that other communities has used and it's gone well. So when I add that to the fact that for the citizens, your week isn't going to change. You're going to get that same day of the week that you put your garbage out, and hopefully you won't notice any change at all. It's pretty compelling to do the savings for the benefit of the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. McLean. Any other comments? Hearing none, Mr. Spagno, would you please call the roll?
Mowry.
Yes.
O'Brien.
Yes.
Dixon.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Hannon.
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
McLean.
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0. Mr. Dixon.
Second item is the application number 2013-0456, the Spencer Family YMCA, addition, conditional use, major land development, YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh applicant. I move that we approve application number 2013-0456, Spencer Family YMCA, addition, conditional use, major land development, YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh applicant, in accordance with the municipal planner's correspondence dated November 7th, 2013.
Second.
There is a motion and a second that we approve application number 2013-0456, Spencer Family YMCA, addition, conditional use, major land development, YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh applicant, in accordance with municipal planner's correspondence dated November 7, 2013. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Harrison.
The record will show that I vigorously opposed Blade Runners being installed where it is. I was concerned that the long-established single-family residences had such a facility in their backyard. And in fact, there were a lot of problems, particularly with the mechanisms up on the roof and that type thing. I will say the Blade Brothers cooperated in solving that problem. But I have the same concern about this application, so I'll be voting no.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dixon.
I would like to ask our solicitor to address the issues that have been raised here tonight. There have been some good issues on both sides. The applicant, the YMCA, has gone through the zoning hearing board, received their variances, and are entitled to proceed with their project. And yet, the opponents have raised some very good issues regarding the fact that the YMCA is tax exempt, and that creates an unfair competitive playing field. So can you address the issues?
Yeah, I will, Councilman Dixon. First thing I want to let council know, and the mayor, is that all of the comments and information submitted by people who have spoken here today has been taken and carefully reviewed by the municipal planner, Mr. Smith, Director of Community Service, and myself. And I did have two very good conversations with Mr. Zaides, who is the counsel for Health Tracks, to go over each of their issues. I guess the basic question, are there issues raised here that make the recommendations of the Planning Commission, improper or illegal? And I just would want to make a couple points. The variances, as Mr. Dixon pointed out, were granted by the Zoning Board, which is an independent body with their own solicitor. Those were granted, no appeal was taken. Now, any use of, if the YMCA's conditional use is granted, they must comply with their variances, and that would be something that would be considered as they move forward with their project. So it's really an issue that's already been, they decided which variances they wanted, those were granted, wasn't appealed, and it'll be up to them to stay within those variances. The second issue is a little bit more difficult. Council has broad authority, but the authority it has is to treat every applicant as it would as an equal person before the law. The fact that maybe one applicant's nonprofit, I don't think fits within the zoning authority to make a zoning decision based on the fact that somebody might be nonprofit, they might be partially tax exempt, any more than council could say, for example, a private company like Curves is established, so they're not going to grant something to Health Tracks because they don't want the competition with the local business. The council has to treat everybody on an equal basis. The place to challenge a tax exempt status would be within the appeal of a tax exemption and not as a zoning decision. So I think you'd be acting beyond your authority if you made a zoning decision based on what you think is going to be the result of someone's tax exempt status. As far as the traffic report goes, again, the municipality retained an expert, Worcester and Associates, which is an established traffic expert. They made the determination, which seemed reasonable to the municipality, that the Sewickley YMCA was a decent comparison, and then they provided a report. That's all. I mean, people can question that, but they're certainly, an established expert. And finally, this process does allow council to set a number of conditions which were recommended by the Planning Commission, and I think council might have some of their own. So I hope that at least addresses some of the legal issues that have been raised, but I just want council to know that staff and the solicitor have taken them very seriously and studied them carefully, and those are sort of our conclusions based on that. Is that responsive, Mr. Dixon?
Yeah, I think so. I think that explained it pretty well. I appreciate that.
Any other comments from council?
I have one. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When we were here on the public hearing, I raised the fact that I didn't think that this body was permitted to just look at the tax status or non-tax status of the applicant. But what I want to say to the folks who came to the microphone today, there is a forum for that argument to be made. There will be an occasion. Folks at the Y may not want to hear this, but they'll have to go demonstrate their bona fides to obtain the tax exempt status, and some of the arguments that you're raising can be made to that body. There's a Board of Property Assessment Appeal and Review and the Board of Viewers where that issue is directly raised, and they're the authority that will decide it. On the municipal side, we might actually be rooting for you to be successful, because nothing makes us happier than having more money coming into the tax coffers. But right now, as it stands, this applicant is before us, as Mr. McTiernan said, without any consideration of its tax or non-tax status. We have a conditional use application which we have to consider on that basis. But if you should be successful later and taxes start to be paid on that property, we'll be happy to collect them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Mr. Maurer.
Yeah, I have, you don't often hear me say this, but I agree with Mr. Harrison. When the skating rink was put in, there was a lot of issues with the neighborhoods and noise and things like that. When the variance request came in several months ago for the YMCA, one of the things that they wanted was an outdoor pool. And a number of the residents in the area that would be directly impacted came to the zoning hearing board and spoke against it, because they were concerned about the noise and the traffic and everything that would be brought by the outdoor pool. The zoning hearing board did turn that down. The neighbors in the area seemed to be not as concerned about the YMCA as much as they were concerned about the outdoor pool. So from my perspective, they also attended the Planning Commission meeting, and not Mr. Harrison's opinion. I'm not trying to say to vote yes or no is his right, but it seemed to me from talking to the residents that is in my ward that majority of people over there were satisfied with the Y, provided it didn't have an outdoor pool. But that was a point well taken, Mr. Harrison.
Any other discussion from council? Mr. Spagna, please call the roll.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Dixon?
No.
Givens?
Yes.
Hannon?
Yes.
Harrison?
No.
McLean?
Yes.
Maury?
Yes. Motion passes 5-2. Okay, Mr. Dixon.
Mr. Maury, that is all we have under planning and zoning this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Are there any additional items? Hearing none, can we turn to health, safety, and welfare? Mr. McLean.
Yes, Mr. Maury, there are no agenda items this evening under health, safety, and welfare.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Are there any additional items?
Yes, I have several additional items.
Mr. McLean.
Thank you. Just a number of community service announcements for this month. One, wanted to mention that our fall leaf collection program will continue for the balance of this week and next week, and then it will be ending. So November 22nd is the last day for your fall leaf collection. You can put the leaves out on the same day as your regular pickup, provided you have the proper containers. We also wanted to let everyone know that garbage collection for the week of Thanksgiving will be the regular collection on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. The Thursday normal collection will be moved to Friday, and Friday will be moved to Saturday. Also wanted to mention to everyone that next Wednesday, a week from this Wednesday, as part of the Bethel Park Town Hall Speaker Series, of the Allegheny County Executive Rich Fitzgerald will be here. It'll be at the Bethel Park Community Center. There's free admission. It'll begin at 7:45, and it's an opportunity for everyone to come as part of the speaker series and listen to Rich Fitzgerald. Third item, and the final, is I want to let everyone know that we're having the Bethel Park tree lighting ceremony, and that'll be on Wednesday, December 4th. The community will be hosted by Municipal Council and the Mayor to kick off the holiday season. Festivities begin at 6:45 and will run until 7:30, and again, that's at the Community Center. And we encourage children to attend and to bring their lists, because there's a possibility that someone special might be present. And that's all we have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Are there any additional items?
Mr. President?
Mr. Dixon.
I thought Mr. McLean was about to give an ad for Macy's when he started talking about the fall leaf collection.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Mayor.
Yes. Him mentioning the Christmas holidays reminds me that we do have the annual competition for the prettiest houses and that type of thing coming up. So the girls and myself will be pretty busy with that over the next few weeks, and then the new mayor, when he comes on, gets to talk to the people who won. So that'll be his first assignment.
Since he's not here tonight, we'd welcome you back to do that in January.
After I'm done, I have a set price for my appearance.
Consulting services?
Oh, boy. I thought that was only for Democrats like Clinton.
We better move on. Okay, before we go to the Public Works and Maintenance agenda, I would like to announce a special day for one of the members of council. And it's his birthday to Mr. O'Brien. Please all join me in singing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mark. Happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you very much, everyone. I'm 55 this year.
He's almost
thank you
to
very
the
much.
club level.
I'm glad my birthday's at the end of the month.
Okay, at this time I turn to Public Works and Maintenance and Mr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Murray. I have given it to everyone over the years. Now it was my turn. No, we have no items under health, safety, and welfare, Mr. Murray, although I have
Public Works and Maintenance.
Yeah, we're on Public Works and Maintenance, Mr. Mary.
Oh, yeah. You got me. Public Works and Maintenance. We have no items under Public Works and Maintenance, Mr. Murray, but I have one.
Mr. O'Brien.
Just to let everyone know, this month is the Marine Corps' birthday, and our beautiful memorial is displaying Marine Corps red for the whole month. It is absolutely gorgeous, and take the time to stop down when the wind's blowing. Thank you, Mr. Murray. That's all I have.
Yes. Thank you very much. Are there any additional items?
Move we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn second. All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourning. Good night, everyone.